In a packed courtroom, a black woman stood handcuffed, accused of nothing more than existing while defiant. The officer's hand cracked across her face. Once, twice, silence shattering like glass. But in the stunned hush that followed, she did the unthinkable. She stepped forward and claimed the judge's own seat. How did a single slap ignite a reckoning that exposed the court's deepest rot? Keep watching. This moment changed everything. Tasha Reynolds woke before dawn every weekday, slipping into scrubs at the county hospital where she'd patched gunshot wounds and held trembling hands for 12 years. By evening, the single mom hurried home to her modest brick house on Elm Street, greeting neighbors with the same warm nod, stirring spaghetti while her 10-year-old son finished homework at the kitchen table. Life wasn't easy. Rent rose faster than her paycheck, but pride kept her steady. That morning, though, a routine traffic stop for a cracked taillight ended in cuffs. Now she stood in a courthouse hallway, wrists raw, wondering why the system she'd trusted suddenly felt like a trap closing tight. The courthouse hallway smelled of bleach and old fear. Tasha's sneakers squeaked on the waxed floor as two deputies marched her past faded wanted posters. She kept her eyes forward, pulse thudding in her ears, replaying the morning. Blue lights in the rear view, a cracked taillight she couldn't afford to fix, the officer's voice already sharp. License. Now, before she even rolled the window down. Paperwork said minor violation. Reality said something heavier. Inside courtroom 3B, fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets. The gallery held mostly white faces, lawyers in press suits, a bailiff scrolling his phone, the judge flipping pages without looking up. Tasha's public defender, a kid fresh from law school, whispered, "Plead guilty, pay the fine, go home." But the ticket in her pocket now read, resisting arrest, a charge that bloomed the moment she asked why her toddler's car seat earned a full search. The prosecutor, tie too tight, clicked a remote. Grainy dashcam footage filled the screen. Tasha's hands on the steering wheel, voice calm. "Sir, I'm a nurse. I'm late for my shift." Then the officer yanking the door, her body jerked sideways, knees hitting asphalt. The room watched in silence. Someone in the back row coughed. Tasha felt every stare like fingers on her skin. Judge Harlan finally glanced over his glasses. "Miss Reynolds, anything to say before sentencing?" His tone carried the weight of 100 similar mornings. Tasha opened her mouth, but the deputy beside her shifted, hand drifting to his belt. A warning. She swallowed the explanation. How the cracked light was fixed last month, how her shift started in 20 minutes, how her son waited at daycare. Instead, she stood straighter. "I'm innocent, Your Honor." A ripple moved through the gallery. The prosecutor smirked. Harlan scribbled something, then nodded to the bailiff. "Approach the bench for reading of the fine." Tasha stepped forward, cuffs clinking. The bailiff's grip tightened on her elbow, too tight. She winced. He didn't notice, or didn't care. At the bench, Harlan muttered numbers. $500, 30 days suspended, mandatory anger management classes. Each word landed like a stone. Tasha's throat closed. 500 was 2 weeks of groceries, 3 shifts of overtime she didn't have. She looked up, met the judge's eyes, and saw nothing human there, just routine. That's when it happened. The bailiff, impatient, shoved her shoulder to turn her around. His palm cracked across her cheek, sharp, loud, deliberate. The slap echoed off cinderblock walls. Tasha's head snapped sideways. Copper bloomed on her tongue. For one stunned second, the courtroom froze. Phones lifted. A woman in the front row gasped. Harlan's pen stopped mid-signature. Heat flooded Tasha's face. Pain? Yes, but something fiercer. 12 years of stitching strangers while her own people bled out on gurneys. 12 years of swallowing, yes, sir, to men who looked through her. The slap wasn't new. It was just public. She tasted blood, straightened, and stared at the bailiff. His smirk faltered. Behind him, the deputy who'd cuffed her that morning shifted, uncertain. The gallery leaned forward, a single breath held. Tasha's heartbeat thundered so loud she barely heard her own voice. "Touch me again," she said, low and clear, "and see what happens." The prosecutor lunged for the mute button on the recording system. Too late. Someone live streaming in the back already had 60 viewers. Harlan slammed his gavel once, twice, face reddening. "Order. Remove her." But Tasha moved first. In 3 strides she was at the bench. The bailiff reached, She twisted free, scrubs ripping at the seam. Before anyone processed the motion, she vaulted the wooden railing, grace born of adrenaline, and landed in the judge's chair. The leather sighed beneath her. Harlan stumbled back, mouth open. The gavel clattered to the floor. Silence exploded into chaos. Deputies shouted. Spectators surged. Phones flashed like lightning. Tasha sat tall, wrists still cuffed, blood drying on her lip, and looked straight into the courtroom camera mounted high on the wall. "Let the record show," she said, voice steady as steel. "This seat feels exactly like the one I was born too good for." The feed cut to static. But outside, sirens were already screaming toward the courthouse, and the video was spreading faster than any officer could run. Chaos swallowed the courtroom in a heartbeat. Deputies lunged, boots pounding like gunshots. Tasha stayed rooted in the judge's chair, cuffs biting deeper as she gripped the armrests. The bench trembled beneath her, centuries of polished wood now holding a black woman who refused to be moved. Harlan's face twisted crimson. He barked for security, voice cracking. Four officers closed in. One grabbed her shoulder, fingers digging into bone. She didn't flinch. Another yanked her wrist. The chain snapped taut, metal slicing skin. Blood dotted the leather. Phones rose higher, dozens now, live streams exploding across screens from living rooms to newsrooms. The bailiff who'd slapped her hesitated, eyes darting to the cameras. For the first time, he looked small. Tasha's chest heaved. Every muscle screamed surrender, but something ancient roared louder. She leaned forward, bloodied lip curling. "You want me out of this seat?" Her voice cut through the shouting, calm and lethal. "Arrest the whole damn system." A collective inhale. The lead deputy raised his taser, black barrel glinting under fluorescence. The red dot danced on her chest. Time collapsed. Tasha saw her son's face at daycare pickup, heard her mother's warning. "Don't talk back, baby, just survive." Survival had always meant shrinking. Not today. The taser clicked, but the courtroom doors burst open first. Uniforms flooded in, sheriff's department, state police, even a news crew shoving past. Someone screamed, "Federal marshals en route." The deputy's finger froze on the trigger. Harlan stumbled backward, tripping over his robe. The gallery erupted. Gasps, cheers, one woman openly weeping. Tasha never looked away from the taser. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears, but her gaze held the room hostage. In that suspended second, the power flipped. The slap, the cuffs, the lies, they weren't weapons anymore. They were evidence. The deputy lowered the taser, and in the silence that followed, Tasha smiled. Small, fierce, unbreakable. The real trial was just beginning. The courthouse doors slammed shut behind Tasha as federal marshals escorted her out, cuffs finally removed. The slap left a bruise blooming purple across her cheek, but the video, raw, unfiltered, had already burned through social media, racking up 20 million views by nightfall. Hashtags erupted. Hashtag courtroom takeover. Hashtag slap heard round the world. Protests swelled outside the building before sunset. Charges against Tasha vanished by morning. The bailiff faced suspension. The judge announced early retirement. Internal Affairs launched a probe that unearthed decades of dismissed complaints. Black defendants roughed up, fines inflated, lives derailed over broken taillights. Tasha's cracked light became Exhibit A in a class action suit that forced the county to pay out millions and rewrite policy. She returned to the hospital a week later, scrubs crisp, co-workers lining the hallway in silent salute. Her son ran into her arms, whispering, "Mommy, you sat in the big chair." She laughed through tears, promising him the world would look different now. But the scar on her cheek stayed. So did the nightmares, tasers, gavels, her mother's voice pleading survive. Some nights, she woke gasping, wondering if one seat taken could ever balance centuries of seats denied. The footage still circulates, a 30-second clip that stops scrolls and silences rooms. It's taught in law schools, dissected on podcasts, replayed in training videos for officers who now hesitate before raising a hand. Yet every week brings another story, another stop, another slap, another life compressed into a headline. Tasha speaks at rallies now, voice steady. "I didn't take that seat for me. I took it for every name you'll never hear." Her foundation funds legal aid for traffic stop victims. Her inbox overflows with strangers saying thank you. I thought I was alone. One woman, one moment, one chair. So here's the question burning brighter than any bruise. When the next Tasha stands accused of nothing, will the system slap her down or finally make room at the table? Share this if you believe the seat belongs to all of us. The reckoning isn't over. It's waiting for you to claim yours.